I decided to give up my creative control and let TikTok choose my entire nail set. And the craziest part is, I picked every single design with my eyes closed. So I genuinely have no idea what combination I'm about to end up with. Here's how this is going to work. I'll be choosing 5 different nail designs from TikTok, and we're starting from my pinky finger all the way to my thumb. Now, here's one important rule I have to follow. I'm not just recreating the entire design, I'm also matching the exact finger placement from the photo. That means we're picking 5 different nail designs from TikTok, and starting from the pinky, the nail design on the pinky of the TikTok video I pick has to be the design I make on my pinky. And the design on the ring finger in the next video I pick has to be the design I make on my ring finger, and the same goes for the rest. No rearranging, no cheating, no switching, no adjusting it to make the set look cohesive. Whatever I pick, I commit to. And honestly, I'm a little nervous because this could either turn out surprisingly beautiful or completely chaotic. But we're about to find out. Before we let TikTok cause chaos, let's prep properly because no matter how experimental this design is, the foundation has to be clean. I recently cleaned up my cuticles, so I don't need to do an in-depth prep on my nails today. I just cleaned the surface of my nail with a lint-free wipe. I push back my cuticle, then I knit my cuticle off camera. I'm then going around my cuticle and my side walls with my 100 over 180 grit file. Quick tip, even if you have recently done your cuticle work, always go back in lightly with your hand file or your drill bit and carefully go around your cuticle area. Growth happens fast and invisible buildup is usually what causes lifting. Prep determines retention. If your prep is rushed, nothing you build on top will last. I'm shaping with a hand file because I want full control, and since my cuticle area is already fully clean, I just focused on cleaning the edges and making everything look intentional. I lightly etched the surface of my nail with my hand file, then went in with a thin layer of dehydrator. Now, I'm going to be using this nail system from Vinime, their soft gel tip primer and their soft gel tip adhesive. I went in with 13 coats of the Vinime primer. I like applying my primer using a rubbing motion. I need to mention that this primer is a gel-based primer and needs to be cured in the lamp for a full 60 seconds, which caught me off guard because I've honestly never used a primer that requires curing. But since it's designed specifically for the tips, I'm using it that way. I've had this primer for a while and it just didn't make sense for me to use on a client, so I want to try it on myself first. I then cured it in the lamp for a full 60 seconds. When sizing your gel X tip, the nail tip should fit sidewall to sidewall. Everything should fit without applying pressure. You know if you're applying pressure if there's a white pressure point that shows up on your nail plates. The soft gel tip comes pre-etched, but I do like to go in with my hand file and etch the inside of the tips for maximum adhesion. I'm going to apply a thin layer of soft gel adhesive onto my natural nail and onto the etched area of my soft gel tip. And then I'm going to scrape a little bit of that glue at the edge of my nail tip. I also like to leave a tiny gap between the tip and my cuticle. I highly recommend a motion sensor flash curing light when you're working on yourself or on a client because it makes it so much easier. But since I don't have that, I'm going to be using my big lamp. And this is the part I have to emphasize on. My clients always complain about a heat spike during curing. I didn't feel a single one, not even a flicker, which honestly shocked me. I braced myself for the pain, but it didn't happen, and I'm very happy about that. I did get a little overflow onto my skin, which I cleaned off before it was fully cured, but you can see the smidge on the side of my nail. This was actually my first time doing gel X on myself, and let me tell you, it is very different doing it on yourself versus on a client. My fingers are not straight and some of my tips are not facing the same direction. But we're going to fix that. I really like this soft gel nail tip. They already have a very thin cuticle area that blends in very nicely, even without having to seal it with a hand file. I'm going in with my hand file to seal that area, and I'm just focusing on the gel X tip. I'm not going to be filing down on the natural nail. I like doing this because it gives me more control over the final look. Now remember, these tips were originally square, but I already knew I wanted almond. Almond elongates the hand and softens everything. And besides, I'm still trying to find the nail shape that suits me the most. Since my nail tips have different personality, they're basically facing different direction. I'm going to try and fix that while changing the nail shape. I trimmed the side walls slightly with my scissors before filing. It just speeds up the shaping process and saves your file from doing unnecessary work. When converting square to almond, I don't just round the tip. I first taper the sides gradually first, then refine the tip. Shaping my pinky is always an experience. I have to wrap my entire hand around it in the most distorted way, just to keep it steady. If anyone walked in at this moment, they would have been concerned. But stabilizing the finger is important. If the nail moves too much while filing, it will end up hurting you. When changing your tips from square to almond, try to be careful to not overfile one side. Almond shapes are so unforgiving. I was worried that my gel X tips were more on the short side, and changing the shape will make it even shorter. And I know certain people won't consider this long, but this is long for me. Since the length I'm going for is not short almond, I can get away with slimming the side, cause I don't like bulky almond. I then buffed the surface of my nail to prep it for rubber-based gel application. I dust them off and go in with acetone on a brush, barely any acetone by the way, to finally seal that area and make it completely flush to the natural nail. For my rubber-based gel application, I first apply a slip layer. I'm taking a little bit of rubber-based gel and placing it right at that space between the proximal fold and where my soft gel tips begin. And I'm going to go in a side-to-side motion and gently flow the gel down the nail. I then went in with my detail brush to fix any imperfection. I really love the sheer shade of this rubber-based gel, and I've been trying to achieve this exact finish for a while. It's sheer enough that you can still see the edge of the natural nail underneath. And I know some people don't like that. I've seen some comments where people complain about it, but personally, I love that look. It feels soft and doesn't look bulky. If you want that sheer finish, apply thin layers and resist the urge to overlevel it again. The more product you add, the more opaque it becomes. Now here's what didn't make sense to me. I didn't feel any heat spike when carrying my gel X tips, but I felt it with the rubber-based gel. which caught me completely off guard. I remove my hand at interval, then continue curing after it cools. Never force yourself through heat spikes. After curing my rubber-based gel for a full 60 seconds, I like going in and etching the surface of the nail, but I did that off camera. I take this extra step to help my gel polish adhere better onto the nail. I'm just removing the dust with a lens-free wipe. Before any nail design, I like going in first with a thin layer of matte top coat. Now it's time to let TikTok take over. I'm starting from my pinky and I genuinely have no idea what I'm about to pick. Please be kind to me. This is the part where my control issue starts acting up. This looks like a beginner nail tech. And it's a new TikTok page as well. By the way, my search was February nail sets. So this is what TikTok thinks February looks like. I think it's cute. Simple French tip with two hearts. I can work with this. Whenever I draw a French tip freehand, I don't overthink it. I map the smile line first, light pressure, then refine the edges. If your French tips looks uneven, it's usually because you're trying to perfect it in one stroke. Sketch it lightly first, then clean it after. Drawing tiny hearts always humbles me. I don't know why. I use the smaller end of my dotting tool to place two dots, then drag them down into a point using my nail art brush. It doesn't look perfect and I want to clean it, but I'm stubborn and I just don't want to. I'm going to try and fix it. Heart designs are so deceptive. They look easy until you're the one holding the brush. For the second one, I switched to the larger end of my dotting tool, and that actually made shaping it easier. If you struggle with drawing heart designs, size your dots first. The more even your dots are, the cleaner the heart will look. That's actually not bad, but I'm hoping I don't see another heart design. Now for the ring finger. First of all, the creator's editing style, chef's kiss. I love it already. It's a French tip again, but with lipstick prints design. I've never recreated this before. The original nail tech drew lipstick onto an eyeshadow applicator and stamped it onto the nail multiple times, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't own a disposable eyeshadow applicator, so I'm going to be using my chrome applicator instead. I hope I don't regret this in the future. I really do. If you're applying gel polish like this, apply a slightly thicker layer so it doesn't dry before stamping. And press hard to get clean imprint, but not too much that you end up with a smudge. When I watched the video closely, I noticed the nail tech added name initials after the lipstick design. I'm assuming the name initial belongs to the client's lover, so I added initials as well. Commitments, yeah. We're staying authentic to the reference. Please don't be complicated. I was really hoping I don't end up picking a collage on TikTok, but here we are. I simplified it and chose the first design, which is unfortunately another French tip with hearts. At some point, I brought out my big acrylic container to rest my hand on, and honestly, that changed everything. Instead of leaving my hand floating in the air, I really love deep French tip, but I'd love to try classic French tip next, especially on almond shape. Just curious on how it will look on me. I really like the way it looks on other nail girlies. Why does TikTok think I need heart therapy? The nail design also has faint irregular shapes layered over the French tip. which actually made it more interesting. When doing abstract shapes, try not to mirror them perfectly. The charm is in the imbalance. The heart color used on the ring finger we are going to recreate is actually burgundy or wine red. I was really hoping that we'll pick a nail set that will match with the pinky and the ring finger. But let's just see how it goes. The abstract design layered on the Frenchie is very faint, and I don't think it should be this faint, but we're going to keep it pushing. I thought light pink was the exact color they used, but it's looking more like wine red mixed with top coat, but I don't know. Now, the index finger. Let's just accept whatever happens. Another collage. Oh my gosh. We're choosing the first design again for my sanity. This French tip is a lighter shade of pink from the shade I used on the pinky. If I had chosen this myself, I would never pair a cherry nail design with this. This is testing my control issues. There's no way this can work together. French tip with cherries. No. Well, I'm going to stick with the challenge no matter what. So basically, at this point, I've accepted my fate. For the cherries, I applied a little bit of rhinestone glue. This is actually stronger than normal glue to hold on to rhinestones, and it makes them stay on the nails longer. I then placed 2 pairs of my red rhinestone and cured for a full 60 seconds. Completed the look with the cherry stems. Anchor your pinky when drawing thin lines. It stabilizes your hand instantly. Last one is just French tip with polka dots. I've never been this happy to see polka dots. And the creator was simply showing off her nails. No collage, no chaos. But definitely French tip though. I was really hoping I won't need my nail art brush for this challenge. Instead, I'm here choosing multiple French tip design.
Oh my god.
I decided to go with the polka dot design on the right hand. After watching the video so many times, from what I could see from the video, it's a milky white base with burgundy dots. Polka dots on the thumb is just the right amount of disaster I need to complete this set. My hand was shaking when I was doing the polka dots on my thumb. I was so tired and hungry at this point, but I'm glad I'm done. Sealing everything in with top coats. And I just realized something. This is my first nail design in a while that doesn't include chrome. At this point, chrome needs to be kept away from me. Okay, moment of truth. I genuinely did not expect this design to work together, but somehow they do. It's not as terrible as I expected. With all the hearts in different colors, the cherries, the polka dots, it shouldn't be cohesive, but it is. TikTok might TikTok might have actually done something. Be honest. Would you wear this set knowing I didn't intentionally plan any of it? And which finger do you think stood out the most?